guys, and welcome back to 97 Projects. My name is Amy and this is part 2 of the kitchen makeover. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, be sure to click the link in the description to see how we got to this point for just £54. Stay tuned to see the rest of the transformation, which cost £150 in total. So I had a couple of ideas for the flooring. The first idea was to paint over the vinyl with white and then stencil in black. But I was worried that because the vinyl had chips and chunks taken out of it already, it was still going to look bad. Plus it was a high traffic area, so potentially it would look tatty in a couple of weeks' time. My second option were these tiles from Dunelm. They're fairly cheap and easy to stick down. You just peel the back off and stick them down on the floor. Problem with that is I'm sticking over the vinyl again and I'm not getting rid of the layers. The third option was I had some leftover flooring from when I did the living room a couple of years ago and the green fiberboard underlay that you can see that I'm putting down right now. So obviously I went with door number 3 and went with free flooring. I had actually planned to use it for the hallway, so it might turn out really nice to have the whole of the downstairs in the same flooring. There's a theme in this house where the previous owners seemed to put layers of stuff over the top of each other. In the living room there was layers and layers of paint over paint, so much so that the wallpaper would cut us when we ripped it off the wall. In the kitchen there's vinyl over tiles. In the bathroom there was tiles over tiles on the walls, and that took me days to try and remove all of those. This was actually the first time I laid laminate, and I saw in a Wix tutorial that you need to add spaces around the edges to make sure you've got enough room for expansion. I didn't have any spaces, so I used these silicone tools I bought from Amazon for the work surfaces as a stand-in. Both the flooring and the underlay were originally from Wix years ago. They advised to lay the laminate in the opposite direction as the underlay. What I tried to do with the laminate is to stagger the pattern so it was a third, 2/3 and then a full plank so it looked more organic. The best bit about the laminate is that I didn't have to buy any special tools in order to put it down, just a hand saw, which I already owned. Although there were some bits where I wanted a coping saw. Like this section for example. If I had a coping saw I would have been able to drill in and then saw along that line. But because I didn't have one, I had to cut it into triangles and try and cut my way out of it. Bearing in mind this was on the VE Day celebrations and it was baking hot. And I still got the piece wrong. So I made sure on the next piece that I measured twice and cut once. The door frame into the hallway looked fairly messy before I put the threshold bar down, but for just £10 it makes it look completely different. I bought the threshold bar in the same colour as the flooring and it really finished off the trim. I also bought 6 lots of aspirin oak beading from Wix and cut it using a mitre box I had in the garage. The final step in the dance was for me to lay the vinyl on the worktops to finally get rid of that green surface. And the vinyl of choice was from DC Fix in this marble pattern. I ended up going with the less glossy version because it looked a little bit less fake. All you need to do is use a wallpaper smoother to take out the air bubbles and take it really slowly, maybe like 5 centimetres at a time. And then use a hairdryer to stretch the vinyl around the corners to make sure you get a nice edge. Now there's one main issue with starting with the easier side, and that's that it gives you a false sense of security that the rest of the kitchen is going to be just as easy. To finish off the vinyl, I used this silicone from Amazon to seal the edges and make sure no water gets underneath. If I was to give anybody any advice for using this, I would say take it slow and make sure you don't rush it. Just do small sections at a time. And don't be afraid to cut it into smaller sections if you need to, or if the pattern allows. I've seen some people cut the hole out for the cooker and just do it all in one piece, but it looks so difficult. I would just rather have a join. You can always create a flush join as well, the same way as you do wallpaper, by overlapping 2 pieces and then scoring down both pieces with a sharp knife, lifting up the top piece and then peeling back the bit underneath, as I'm doing here. As long as your pattern's not too fussy, I think you can get away with it, with a little bit of cork or a little bit of silicone. The sink. I have cut a lot of footage out of me doing this side. It was so stressful. I wish I took my own advice and cut it into smaller sections to begin with. It would have saved myself a lot of stress and sweat. The best part by far is coming down in the morning, forgetting what you've done the day before, and then realising you've got a brand new kitchen and you don't have to stare at that ugly green surface any longer. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm honestly so happy I took the plunge and decorated my kitchen rather than waiting for a kitchen extension. Whenever I would have people around the house before, I would always try and keep them out of the kitchen. Now I want to show it off, and it's that little bit sweeter that I did all the work myself. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see me use epoxy resin for the very first time, make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications for next week. Or join us on Instagram for some sneak peeks of the upcoming episodes.